Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me, and can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Well, thank you, Regina, for having me on the show today. My name is Colleen Rosenblum, and I am co host of the podcast Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. And we like to call ourselves the voice for women in midlife and beyond. So we talk about anything and
Mm.
everything to do with midlife. I know it's a lot. There's a lot of
There's
topics to cover.
so much. There's so much I want to ask you.
Oh, it's been an interesting ride. We started in September of 2019,
Mm.
right before the pandemic hit. So we
Oh,
really got to dedicate a lot of time and energy into learning the craft of podcasting and getting the guests that we really wanted to get and getting the questions answered that we think women deserve to have answered. So it's been quite the ride over the last 4 years.
fabulous. Well, I know we're going to get into some other things, but tell people about your podcast. And, I know you have a co-host and you've had some
Yes.
really cool guests on your show too.
Well, thank you. We've been very blessed to have a lot of great guests on. My co-host is a friend of mine named Bridget Garrett, and we started the podcast because there was this blank space in podcasting for women and media for women in midlife and beyond. Like you were either the mom group or you were retired enjoying your retirement, but there was nothing in the middle. And we're living longer, but no one tells us, okay, what do you want to do with the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life? Because there's a lot to do. And I don't think
Right.
that we are shown the options that we should. And I think the media and television does not do justice in showing us what's out there that we can be doing. So a friend of ours had a podcast and we said, well, let's give this a try and see how hard could it be. And we realized it's a very hard craft. And so,
Yes, it
I've been
is.
in my former lives, I was an attorney, I was a Pilates instructor. So I didn't come from that media background. And so we learned and we started, like I said, right before the pandemic hit. And we were really lucky because a lot of people were home at that time.
Hmm.
So we started getting we were very careful who we invited when it came to the conversation of women's health, when especially menopause. So if a doctor's on, they're menopause certified, they're experienced, they're evidence-based experts that we have on. And then, we started getting celebrities and people are like, oh, who do you know in the industry? No one. Like really, we just were very lucky because I think women in our demographic doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or the woman at the grocery store, we have the same issues going on in our bodies and in our minds at this time of life. So we have had some incredible guests like Marsha Mason, Linda Gray. We've had Patricia Heaton. We've had Joan London. We've had, I mean, just a slew of really amazing celebrities. We've had great authors who talk about mental health, finding friends, how to break up with your doctor, like just anything that you can think of that might be a topic, including some that I've literally had to like bleach my brain after the episodes. Like I just can't even believe I had to have that conversation. We will bring it. We say we are not the experts, but we will bring the experts to our audience. And we're, in the top 1.5% of podcasts globally. So
Wow.
we've definitely hit a nerve. Um,
Nice.
and we're just really, it's been a joy. It's 4 years, and we thought, oh gosh, we're going to run out of topics. And we haven't even like hit this, like gone by past the surface. There's just
No,
so much to talk about for midlife women.
absolutely. And Colleen, there's nowhere that conversation's being had. Like I know when I first started experiencing some menopausal, perimenopausal stuff, I started looking it up. I couldn't find, even Dr. Google couldn't tell me, right?
And don't
There's
look to Dr. Google.
Oh,
That's
I
a
know,
scary
right?
place.
I was just like, I want some information. Like, there's nothing. You go to the doctor, for your regular checkup, and they don't say anything about it. So you are providing such a valuable public service by having these guests and having this podcast. I am so excited that I came across it.
Well, thank you. I'm excited that you found us as well. And it's really, it gives us great pleasure. Like when we get responses from people who listen going, my doctor would have never told me that. I got 10 minutes with them. And we've learned that a lot of doctors in med school, you get like an hour on menopause women's health.
right,
So they simply don't know. It's not their
right.
fault. They simply don't know a lot of the options out there. So you need to empower yourself when you walk into a doctor's office to say this is what I want, and if you don't know about it, it's okay. You can research it. But if you're going to say to me it's just menopause, then I'm going to have to find another doctor because
Oh, yeah.
it's a lot more than just.
Well, that's dismissive too. And it's speaking
Absolutely.
down to you like, oh, don't worry your pretty little head about it. Like, that's very dismissive.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yeah. Not a big fan of that. So,
No, that
but
doesn't go over well.
and what's really interesting is a couple years ago, Forbes came out with an article saying that menopause is a potentially $600 billion industry. So you will start seeing everyone and their aunt and uncle throwing products out there for women's health. Be careful, please. Just because
Hmm.
there's a name or a celebrity on it does not mean it's any better or worse than something else. Don't try it just because someone you recognize from TV or movies tells you that this product's going to work for you. Because usually, if it's too good to be true, it is. But as
Absolutely.
soon as they heard about the money that can be made, because we are powerful consumers, we have disposable income. So the fact that the media does not, and I always say, usually our millennial kids are using our credit cards to buy the stuff they're buying. So why aren't you speaking to us? Why aren't you taking
Exactly.
the time to pitch to us? It's always been a phenomenon that I don't really understand.
And this is like kind of a side note to that. In the financial world where I live, for I'm telling you, for at least the past 10 years, we have been told, in my head the whole time, I'm like, that's wrong. The whole time they've been telling us, oh, the baby boomers are going to give all this money to the millennials. Make sure you're catering to the millennials. And I'm like, you're forgetting about a whole generation.
Mm-hmm.
The baby boomers are not like skipping over their own kids to give to their grandkids. It's like every like so like just what you're saying, like they're focusing on the millennials. Well, what about Generation X? Like, we're the ones in there. Like, why aren't
We
we
are the
focused on them?
forgotten generation.
Yes, right. I want
I
some
have
attention, darn
discovered
it.
we're the sandwich generation. We're taking care of not
True.
only the parents that are baby boomers, but the millennial kids. So
Yeah,
we end up being the middle of the sandwich and the forgotten generation. But it's up to us to really say, no, that's not how this is going to play out. And
right, right,
it's
right. And the
interesting.
financial industry has just come around to say, "Ooh, wait a minute, maybe we
Really.
made a mistake there."
Well, hello. I mean, what did they think was going to happen? They were just going to squish the two together
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
not consider Gen X, we're here and we're not going anywhere.
Right. Woohoo!
But I do love getting to talk about all these topics because it is so incredibly interesting. And there are so many women, and I love talking about women who have been at the pinnacle of a career and hit 50 or 55 and say, you know what, I'm going to pivot here. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something I want to do. And they take all that knowledge and experience and they funnel it into something they have a passion for. And it's great to see that result and how well some of them are doing.
That's cool. That's really cool. So I want you to tell everybody about the event you're doing in New York because I think that's a fantastic event.
Well, thank you. One of the things that I have discovered from doing the podcast for the last 4 years is the power of conversation. And women, we learn some of the best information when we are sitting at a table just chatting, whether drinking coffee, having a glass of wine, whichever. It's making that connection. It can be really powerful. So we decided to start doing some in-person events. The first one was in Nashville back in October, and it was a huge success. Women they kept saying this is magical. I've never experienced anything like this because they've attended events where you're kind of lectured to, but this is a true conversation. So our next event is going to be Saturday, April 27th, and that's going to be in New York City at Pen 2, which has just recently been renovated and it's gorgeous. And so
Yay.
we Cannot wait. So we're going to have 4 panels: boss ladies, women's health, and they're going to talk menopause and longevity; tea time with prime women, which is going to be celebrities. And then we are also going to have changing the narrative. And we have some incredible, incredible guests. If you want more information or more specifics on that, you can go to conversationswithprimewomen.com.
Oh,
Everything will be up
yeah.
in there, the tickets, everything, and the gift bags. Oh my gosh. The women who got the gift bags in Nashville could not believe, like they could hardly carry it. There were so many goodies in there because companies want you to learn about their products. So, and
True.
we're happy to showcase them. Women want options, you know?
True.
So yeah, we've had some really powerful conversations, and you get to ask questions after, you get to take pictures with the celebrities. It's just a really fun afternoon. So it'll be Saturday, April 27th at Penn 2.
Can't wait. I'm loving the idea of this. It's going to be such a fantastic event.
Well, the hope is to do them all over the country. I think the next
Hmm.
one will probably either be Boston or LA. So
Hmm.
we're going to be doing them all around. My co-host is actress Mindy Cohn, who many people will remember as Natalie from The Facts of Life, but she is now,
Loved her.
love her, still love. She is co-starring in the Apple series Palm Royale with Laura
Oh,
Dern and, oh my
oh,
gosh, Ricky Martin, Carol Burnett, like all these great people. Yeah, it's
whoa.
going to be really great.
Good cast.
I can't wait. It starts in March.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that. And she's going to be my co-host for these events. So we're really excited.
Oh my
She's
goodness.
fabulous, by the way.
I can
She's
imagine.
become such a
That's
dear friend, and
fantastic.
just so happy to have had her kind of enter our lives. So it's going to be fun, and it's an afternoon, and we're just going to enjoy it. We're going to connect. Women are going to make, a lot of times women have trouble in this demographic making friends or feeling connected. And that is one thing you're not going to have a problem at our event. Everybody's going to
Hmm.
sit at tables, connect, talk, get their questions answered, and we can't wait. And some of the guests are former podcast guests, so we already know, that they're amazing. I mean, we know everybody's going to be amazing, but we've already had conversations with them, and it is through these conversations and these events that we're going to create change in the narrative around aging and midlife. And
Perfect.
because I truly believe midlife is the best kept secret. Like,
Hmm.
there's so much negative connotation, and I just don't think they want anyone else to know about all the freedoms and the I mean, yeah, there's good and bad in everything. Certainly my knees aren't my friends anymore. And, there's that stuff, but there's so many privileges that we've earned this time of life. So it's going to be
Absolutely.
fun.
It should be fun. It should be fun. And where else should they go if they want to learn more about you and your podcast and all the other things that you're doing?
Sure. So we do a new podcast episode every Wednesday, and
Okay.
they're on every podcast platform. If you can't find it on a platform, which would be unusual, but if they can't, they certainly can go to our website at hotflashescooltopics.com. All the episodes will be there. And also, if they have any questions, they can email us at hotflashescooltopics@gmail.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. So, you mentioned that you've had quite a few parts of your life. You were an attorney. You did a couple different things. What are some of the challenges that you have faced as a professional woman?
It's interesting. When I was in my 20s, I went straight to law school from college. So by the time I was 25, I was a lawyer. And
Wow.
back in the day, there were a lot of women, but we weren't treated equally. And I started work at a very large law firm. And, I was 25, 26, and right around 26, 27, I started thinking. I was married. I thought about having kids. And the boss for my department, you'd walk into his office and there would be this picture of, don't smoke, the red circle with the line in it. He would have a picture of a pregnant woman with the red circle and the
No.
line through it. Yep.
Oh, oh,
Yes. And nowadays it would be a lawsuit. Back then,
big time.
not so much. Um, so it wasn't, it was frowned upon to have, a child during that time. Now women do it, it's not going to affect your career as much as it did back then. And as my kids got into school, I just realized this is not what I want to do. I have 2 daughters, and I wanted them to see me happy and fulfilled. And doing something that I felt had purpose. So I did not know what I wanted to do. And I tell so many women, it's okay to not know. Start with what you don't want to do. So I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer. So we had that. And I started to exercise because I thought that would clear my head and maybe give me a chance to kind of figure it out. And I started doing Pilates, fell in love with it, and got certified and taught for about 12 years. And it was so interesting because everything I learned in the law, as far as research and writing and everything, and then everything I learned teaching Pilates, which was a lot of psychology, because you're talking to women all day long. Um, I took them both, combined them, and podcasting was just a natural fit. It would sound so bizarre. People are like, wait, you went from that to that. But I took both of those, what I learned, combined them, and became the podcaster and now a media host for these events. Just made sense. It really did. Because I can research the topics I want to discuss, but I know what women want to hear because I heard it all the time for 12 years. So I say to women, don't think because you did X for 20 years doesn't mean you can't pivot to Y, because you're taking that information, you're taking your experience. That is invaluable. You can always learn because now YouTube has everything you could possibly want on there.
True.
You can always learn the specifics, but what the value of your experience, it just can't be measured.
I agree. I agree. And to add to that, I was a critical care nurse. And what I tell my clients is that I started out taking care of your physical health. Now I take care of your financial health. So just because
Oh,
you
I love
start in a
that.
career, yeah, right? Just because you start in one career doesn't mean you have to stay in that career. So a
And
lot of moving parts.
for some women, it's not that simple that they can shift to a different career. They might have to start on the weekends doing,
Hmm.
research, and maybe you do it
Hmm.
one day a week. So, I don't say it as it's a simple process, but it can be done over time if it's really what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One other question I like to ask people is, you get in the time machine because you have a lot of work to do in this area, so it can't be anytime soon, but get in the time machine and, what are your thoughts? How do you visualize your retirement?
Oh gosh, grandkids, grandkids, grandkids. That's how
Oh,
I feel.
yeah.
Yeah. You know,
All
I think just being able to travel with my husband, being near my family. I have two daughters, and being near them, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if you can tell, grandkids.
right.
Um, and just experiencing, still doing what I love, still talking to people, still making that connection, hopefully bringing joy to people. It's being kind, being able to give things forward. But it's really about, for me, it's about my family and still enjoying life experiences. Like this year I've always wanted to stay in a castle in Ireland or
Mm,
England or Scotland. So we're doing that. And that's something that has
fun.
taken years to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do it. And so it's something to look forward to. So I hope in my retirement we're still looking forward to things to do
Yeah.
while I
Oh,
have
that's
a
so
bunch.
fun.
Yeah, because I think you have to have something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe
Mm,
you want to take a dance class. That's great. Maybe you want to learn to sew. Great. But have something to look forward to. I say this,
absolutely.
someone told me that when I was about to become an empty nester, have something to look forward to for just yourself. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life, a lot of
Very
changes.
true. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you so much. This is a very great conversation. I love everything that you're doing, and I really appreciate you spending some time with me.
It has been a pleasure. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Oh, can't wait to release it. I want to thank everyone else for listening. Again, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. You could follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and LinkedIn. It's Regina McCann Hess. Call to action, I think, today is to listen to Colleen's podcasts, and you will learn so much that is not available to us. So take a listen to her podcast and let us know what you think. Thanks and have a great day.